Most welcome to Unified Fields. Today I'd like to talk about youth, young people that feel out of their mind, that feel while studying at university, do not know what they landed into. They miss out the psychology of what their study is about. They miss out inspiration, they miss out support, they miss out mental capacities. And whatever faculty we are looking at, there is a missing link in which people need to be put in their strength and open their mental faculties, attitudes to the highest possible level, and that misses out in every faculty. Because why? Because science misses out on educating it. Science misses out on pulling that knowledge through they haven't learned themselves. So I've been studying this for 15 years now, and that was pretty interesting, especially number one, in the faculty of psychiatry, the faculty of the arts, number one, the faculty of architectures. There's so many faculties that really could offer students so much more education that comes down to self-education. And I also pulled out a pilot program to put people at universities in my city, Hasselt, into their strength. But it was taken away from those who won actually the fitness club in universities, not giving students the opportunity what they really need, but giving them what they want. So how can a young boy or a young girl, age 18, 19, 20s, whatever, know what their body needs to uplift their mentality, their psychology, and so much more? So here I'm willing to put out pilot programs in order to offer every student and every faculty the opportunity to educate themselves from the inside out and merging that with the outside capacities and whatever is being offered as a program, because without the authentic self and knowing the psychological capacities and adjusting the attitudes towards any study, most young people feel completely lost in their strength, lost in self-esteem, lost in trust, lost in the power of the word and how to communicate. Most can't even communicate because what is going on is when you get up in the morning, that is social media, your tablet, your cell phone, and so the inward world, the inner self is completely neglected. I've also experienced a lot of students age 22 till 28 who can't even communicate, let's say just casual communication, and started to communicate as they communicate on social media. And that is a big problem, right? So here my education programs with any faculty would go in the re-education of what light technology is and the existence of the human body and how we can study that, because every problematic static can be loosened up or be found a solution for if we learn to focus on it with every other faculty we have in the brain and coordinate that. I have another video about coordinating or becoming the mental psychological director of your brain's capacities, and that goes far beyond the mundane. Because why? Because when being born in soul consciousness, there is no education that states how a little person or a baby can outward the outer world. They need to digest everything that comes up to them. And so I've witnessed many students digesting incredible problems with the outer world, with friends, with parents, with educators, with almost everything. And when that gets or becomes a ticker tape on their brains, how do you want them to really become a strong person with a strong PhD, with a personality that has opened all its faculties? It's not only the brain, it's the heart component that needs to match the educational systems as well and really understand it. So, for example, if I would educate in the arts and the psychology within color far beyond what psychologists know, because it's new universal knowledge I've been studying, and so we can download that, all of us, but the brain needs to be prepared for that. And in order to become so strong, self-confident, and change any mentality and attitude we have towards the self, with whatever capacity we would like to develop, there is massive capacities we can open up beyond mundane consciousness. And that becomes very interesting, because if going inward and learning to focus on the inward world instead of all that social outward world that makes you go crazy and distracts you every single minute, you can become professional at anything that you study and open up new technology within any faculty, and then it becomes very interesting. For example, somebody studying in the arts of music and opening their inward world to what a musical vibe can be like, and listening to tones that get into their head, and composing music with the exactitude of laser lights, with the exactitudes of the authenticity of yourself and being aligned to that. That is a massive output. That can also go back to those studying in the arts and combining colors and knowing why colors are being applied in a certain piece of art. That is pure psychology that makes you change your own brains. When I come up with any piece of art that comes from my focus, my meditational input, and so I'm not a regular artist in the regular term, so I didn't educate myself in the arts, but I did educate my mentality, my brain, and without even knowing it, I was pushed and triggered into buying canvas and colors and paint. And so all that comes out of my hand is without a concept. All I have is colors and the consciousness within colors. And when I start painting, the outward world diminishes. It doesn't exist anymore. And the concept comes when the particular piece of art is finished. So that's a complete inversion of what most people do. Same goes for those studying architecture. Same goes for those studying the deeper levels of mental capacities, those studying physics. That would be massively interesting to go with, and changing the entire nomology. So here I'm thinking of bringing back the strength of light consciousness into these young people, that offers them support program in which they can fall back all of the time, and anything that is being developed in the inside will automatically reflect on the outside, and that is the beauty of the science term light. And I mean, many physicians and scientists are getting into the open with acknowledging that there's more universes than just one universe, but when loading them in the body and really working with this airplane as a human being, then it becomes massive what we can develop together and become really, really strong people with a new voice, with new capabilities, with new skills. We become all special skill builders because we are all very unique. But being unique in soul consciousness is not that unique because there is too much identification with the outward world and other people. When you become unique in your own self through spirit consciousness, meaning you become inspirited every single second, and that is the minute everything comes supremely interesting. And I've also learned so many young people fear just about everything. Like many that finish their studies are afraid to live alone, are afraid to building a business, are afraid to open up their first job, are afraid to talk out and talk their own walk in their jobs. They fear just about everything. So how can you stand strong when you fear just about everything in this world? That makes up very, very weak young people. And well, let's just say, if we open up that program in every faculty and students become open to learning about themselves, it's incredible how they can flow through their studies with ease and grace. And that is really needed at this time. Ease and grace and knowing what they are doing. So if you need more physical strength, there's an output for that. If you need more trust, there's an output for that. If you need to finish up anything in a very small amount of time, that is possible. I have experienced one single student at the end of the year and not knowing how to complete and accomplish the end script and everything they have to do. And so that particular person came up to me and she said like, hey, I know you do stuff, can you help me please, because I'm so stuck, it's completely, nothing comes out of me. I said, all right, be prepared, come at night, because I'm gonna shake your brains inside out and eliminate what needs to go, all your stuck programs, anything that gets in the way of accomplishing what you need to complete, right? And what happened that night, I said, I told her, like, pop in the morning and tell me how things go, because I was very concerned with that person. She was in the arts and very intelligent person also. And so I didn't see her the next morning, next day, nothing. And then all of a sudden she popped up. And I said, how is it going? She said, you know what? I went to my room, as I'm living with the students here. I have 40 students. And I finished my whole script, my whole everything during that night, 12 hours. And it was perfect. So she graduated. No more hassle, ease and grace. That's an extreme example, but you know, it's easy to give you extremely interesting things to evolve, to progress, and to be successful on every level of their life. And I hope universities and high schools and everything are going to be open to these new things, and be open for new programs and how to recalibrate psychology and mental capacities and thus skills. That means health, wealth, success and joy on every level of your life, and not being stuck on relationships, not being stuck on things you don't understand in your own study, not being stuck in anything. And that brings society to a new level of re-education and a new level of cooperation and cooperative programs, which are massively interesting for this new age we are living on the planet. So I hope there is some opening to at least make students listen to new lectures. There's a lot of videos I've out there and how people miss out on their health, their wealth, and their will to stand strong as a human being and really build a life every day with new capacities. Okay, thank you so much.